Everybody give Sharon a big round of applause. She was everybody today. Throughout that last thing, I'm trying to say. It's all good. Anyway, welcome. Montreal. And so before I get started, so everybody who needs one of these things, have one of these things. This is our for translation. If you don't have one, you can go right over there, right to the smiling lady and get one. And I'll just explain them really quick because obviously I'm speaking. You hear me in French right now? What am I still? Wait. You hear that in English? Oui. Good. Channel 1. Channel 1 is English. So if you want to hear it in English, it's channel 1, and channel 2 is in French. All right. So if you need one, get one now, and then we'll test it one more time. I'm going to wait until we get that going. But anyway, welcome to this event. I am so excited here. We are so excited to be in Montreal. And Montreal is in what? La Belle Province? Oui. Yes. Okay. So you should have heard that one. Anyway, I want to take care of a little bit of housekeeping first, just so we kind of get that out of the way. And I want to make sure that everybody understands the parking situation. If you parked today in the parkade, you should have gotten one of these white tags, right? Roll. I've been really trying really hard, so just bear with me and loud. White. And we have this for you, a yellow. I'm not going to attempt that in French, but you should have gotten a yellow one. If you didn't, you won't get on the parking lot. You need this right here when you leave, your white and your yellow. So if you don't have a yellow, make sure you visit the registration desk and get one of those. And I can't remember who I got this white one from, so they might not get out. So if you gave me the white ticket, it's in my pocket. I'm going to take good care of it. So everybody got a program. Did everybody get a program when they came in? Everybody were at least sharing the program. In this program, at the back, there's a thing called notes. And is there, I guess you can take some notes and just to make sure that you have that. If you didn't register and you don't have a lanyard, one of these, right? If you don't have one of these or didn't stop at the desk at the front, it's right across from here in the entryway. If you want to go back there after, not right now, but after the first panel, like grab one because they'll give you your bag of goodies and they'll give you your lanyards to wear. Now, speaking of lanyards, everybody who has is it Grom? Grom thing's big, right? Grom. A blue lanyard that's a bit thicker. Can anybody wave your hand if you're wearing Parkinson Canada? People wave your hand. Anybody wearing a blue one? If you have any issues or any trouble, look for this lanyard. So you're walking around looking at everybody's neck, filing. So they're a blue lanyard. It's a little bit thick. Make sure that you get there, and they'll be happy to help you in French or English. All right, and then there is this. That you would have got this in your registration bag or kit. And you don't have one. This is called. It's called a passport. I lovingly refer to it as a bingo card. And when you're visiting any of the tables of any of the exhibitors, you get an initial it, and once you get enough initials and all initial, you can enter this in and draw to win some Montreal Canadian swag. Montreal Canadian. Is that a hockey team? Oh, I thought I just that one up. I'm just kidding. I love hockey. They're all one of my arch steps, so I thought I just tried that one on for size. Did that work? No. Anyway, so we have some Montreal been donated by the Montreal Canadians. We're excited and thankful for them to do that. And again, just fill that out. And there's a big silver bucket on the registration table, and you will be drawing that just at lunchtime. So you'll have some more time to get it. And then exhibits are going to be open at every break. So the way today's set up is we have 3 panels, and between each panel, we're going to have a time for you. There's beverages and lunch, but that's the time that you could visit the exhibitors and get some knowledge. They're all local exhibitors, and we are excited for them and thankful for them to be a part of what we're doing today. Double check my notes for the intro because housekeeping is very important. Oh, there is accessibility washrooms and restrooms. And bathrooms. I don't know which one you call it, restroom, washroom, bathrooms. And they are right up to the right, out the door. There's also what we call a hospitality suite. And that's out the door to the right. There's a little room if you have to take your medication, if you want to just have a little quiet time, if you have to go back there, it's open for you. And there's also a family restroom there as well. So that's to the right, last room on the right, because that's what washrooms straight up that way as well. And headsets we talked about. Oh, and headsets, please. Also, don't forget, don't forget to drop those off on the way out. Because that would be really good. So don't forget to drop those out. I'll remind you about that again later today. And if you're having any trouble with your headset at any time, don't wait. Just get up and take it right back to the smiling lady who's waving her hands, and she will make sure she's bilingual as well, and she'll make sure to take care of you for there for sure. Okay, passport we talked about. Good. All right. Expo's open. Any questions? Oh, big one. I almost forgot. On your table, there's cue cards, little cue cards, little cards. Can you see those? Can someone wave those to me and pick them up? See them? And there's pens. All right, those things right there. That is your Q&A. And I would implore you to ask questions. What we're going to do is we're going to have a panel, and at any time, if you have a question, or you think of a question, or you want to ask a question, write it down, lift up your hand, and a wonderful person with one of those big, thick lanyards will come behind and pick them up for you, and we will put them together. And then at the end of this, we're going to have, at the end of the first session here and the second session, we'll stop for a 2-minute break just to catch our breath, and then we'll start the Q&A after that. So they'll all be read then. So don't wait. Don't think, oh, you know what, I'll figure that out. Ask. Do it in real time. I always find that, I don't know, but anybody in the room have Parkinson's here today? Anybody? Can I see a show of hands, honestly? You have Parkinson's? Beautiful. Awesome. I don't know about you, but I forget things sometimes. Actually, I've done a lot of things a lot of times. I forget a lot of things right when I thought of them. And so if you have a question, write it down, lift up your hand, and we'll make sure we pick that up for you right away. And that's about it on the housekeeping. I want to make sure. And I totally forgot to bring a glass of water. And I don't want to pour me one. Thank you so much. That would be wonderful. So I have a tendency to speak quickly. And I was talking to somebody and they told me a trick, and that was to have a sip of water when I felt like I was going quickly. Look at this. I got it all. Is that good? Now, are we sharing? Oh. Uh-oh. Thank you. I think I thank you. Anyway, I thought it's 0 yet. I haven't started, right? Perfect. So I wanted to start tell you a little bit about myself and a little bit of my story, but really my story is just a story. And you here today have a story. I'm just lucky enough and honored enough to be here to be able to share mine a little bit. And you know, I always say, and I've heard this a million times, I have 2 sayings. One of them is that, you know, it's Parkinson's. I call it the silly disease. Like I said, we got the silly one, like the one that doesn't make sense. I can't understand a disease that changes daily or doesn't show up the same way it did yesterday. I can't believe that my days aren't the same, and it could be the most frustrating, irritating thing. Can anybody relate to that? We. Okay, that's what we'll do. When you relate to that, say "we" really loud, then I'm going to get excited, and then we'll have a really good time. But I just can't understand this thing. It's one of the most frustrating things, because one day I think I have it all figured out, and the next day it's different. And then the next day I feel great. I feel like I don't even have anything, and I forget I do for a second. And those are the good times. Those are the fun times. But I was 40 years old. I can't believe this. I actually had my neurology appointment this past week. I go every 6 months. And when I got there, he said, "This is our 15th year together." Right? Yeah, I know what you're thinking. He can't be that old. Yeah, just kidding. 15 years. 15 years. 15 years. But yet there's only one appointment I remember. And that was the first one when I got diagnosed there. I can't even tell you that. So 15 times 2 is what?
30.
I'm making sure you're all awake, because I can do math. 30. That's 30 appointments, 15 years. And I'm thinking to myself, 15 years? You've had this thing for 15 years. You're taking levodopa for 15 years. You've been wondering where the hell this thing came from for 15 years. You're wondering, and it's crazy. But I'll tell you, when I was diagnosed, I was told this. I said, you're going to have 5 good years left. So at 40 years old, with 3 kids, 2 teenagers, and 1 preteen. Yeah, busy. I was managing, I was working, actually, my head office is in Montreal, Quebec, Napa Auto Parts, United Auto Parts. So I was the general manager of Napa Auto Parts in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Northwest Ontario. I had 600 employees, 7 districts, 7 distribution centers, 69 stores, 45 franchisees, all under my realm. My budget, I love doing budgets, was $78 million. My payroll was a lot. And I flew weekly, all around, always on the plane. And when I first got diagnosed, I didn't want to tell them that I had this because I didn't want to be, I didn't want them to not invest in me. I didn't want them to look at me different. I didn't want my employees to look at me different. I wanted to just be me, right? I thought I was pretty cool. I thought I was pretty good. So I didn't want to just be me. And I didn't want to be judged with having this thing, or that's that guy that he's good, but did you know? And I did that. And then I started getting really tired. And I started realizing that my cognitive issues were a little bit more than I wanted to believe at the time. And, with the stress and the travel and the kids and the youngs, and I was getting questions like, I'd have things where, and I don't know about you, but so have you ever hid levodopa? I mean, I have levodopa in every pocket of my everything all the time. I got extra levodopa in my car, my desk. I got it in this pocket, that pocket. And by the time I had dress shirts, we wore ties all the time. Every single one of my dress shirts has a yellow stain on. Those things melt. Right? Who can relate to that? All the levodopa people laughed at that one. Everybody else went, really? They melt. They disappear. Have you ever gone to grab your levodopa bottle? It's just a bottle of yellow dust. Right? Has anybody ever heard me speak before or seen me speak before? Anybody hasn't heard of me before? Where the heck have you guys been? You guys are. I am so happy to get in front. I went through this time I didn't want anybody to know because I probably think I was not wanting to have it either. I would think I wanted to pretend if I didn't talk about it, I pretended it didn't there. Maybe it wasn't really there. And I realized it was getting a little tough. I'd have questions. I'd have staff saying, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And I'm like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Did you have too much coffee today?" I'm like, "Why?" "Well, you're shaking when you had too much coffee." I'm like, "Oh boy, here we go." Right? Until one day, my assistant walked into my office just as I was taking my pills. I don't know about you, my pill ball got to be about that big, that one. The yellow pill ball was so big. And I went to open it, and those are always fun as well. I opened up the pill bottles, and I spilled my pills, yellow pills, over my entire office. So I was kind of busted, I guess was the right way to say it. And so I told them and whatnot. And then, anyway, fast forward a little bit. I got to the point where I just couldn't do what I wanted to do. I'm kind of one of those people that I'm all in. Right? I don't want to do anything half, I need to go all in and put everything I have into it. And when I can't, I don't want to do it anymore. And so I decided that I can't do this anymore. So here was me at 51, I guess. I'm going to retire. I'll just retire. And so that was great. And I started in Parkinson Canada. He was talking to a fellow Parkinson Canada who'd seen one of my YouTube videos. And he kept saying, could you do some stuff? Come on a webinar. Do a webinar. And I'm like, I said, no way, man. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the Parkinson guy. I don't want to be, as humble. I'm saying very humbly today, but I didn't want to be the poster child of the Parkinson's at all. And so he kept kind of asking me, watch this, do you want to do it right now? So he kept asking me to do an interview for them, and I'm from Winnipeg, in Winnipeg. And I finally said, okay, fine, I'll do it. And I did this little radio show on behalf of Parkinson Canada, and it was a small little show, and it was on just for a few minutes. And when it ended, they kept calling me back. They kept texting me because all these people were calling, asking questions, and all these people wanted to talk to me and all this kind of stuff. And I had this like aha moment that I just had to be involved. And I knew that Parkinson Canada had a new CEO. You met her today. I made a joke, and I'm like, I'm probably in big trouble actually. So I'll figure it out later. But Karen, I knew Karen had just had just been, and I heard of this great vision of what she wanted to do at Parkinson Canada. And I said, I need to be a part of that. I think I just called that. Please, I need to be a part of this. I don't care. I said, I wash the dishes. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to be a part of it because I really believe in what you're doing. And so I came on, again, and in my head I thought, I'll just do, hopefully, maybe, if it works out, I'll do a couple of things. I'll maybe work a day or two a week, and maybe just kind of help and turn into just an amazing set of people and a great teams and working on some great initiatives. And I'm like your inside person at Parkinson Canada, and I feel that's really cool. I feel like I got this time that I had left, and if I can influence and help to get things that we need, and You know, I don't know about you, but when you're diagnosed, you know, that's what I said. I said when I said I don't remember any appointment, but that first one, and that was after about going to two different neurologists and about umpteen tests to try to figure out what this thing was. I just twitching my finger, twitching my finger, twitching my finger. And the neurologist, first neurologist told me I was nuts. He said he was too young to have Parkinson's, that Michael J. Fox was an anomaly, and that my grandmother had Parkinson's and passed away a day before my birthday. And on my birthday, I got a twitch, started twitching. And he goes, so it's all in your head. I'm like, great. So I'm going to go, I got this twitch and I'm nuts. I went to another neurologist. He said, I have no idea what it is. And I went to my movement disorder specialist, and within 5 minutes, he said, you know you have Parkinson's. And you know that trick, they come walking up behind you and then they walk you into their appointment. I thought, man, that's the nicest doctor I've ever met in my life. You know, usually they just put your file on the door, you go and wait for the doctor, and you come in and say, what do you need? I mean, this doctor came up, greeted me, walked with me, you know, I know their tricks, you know their tricks, and so they're watching us walk and do our thing. And so all I remember of that appointment was, at that point, after he said that, you know you have Parkinson's, and that's all I remember. Because at the time, he said today, he says, it was the strangest reaction he'd ever had when he told someone that. So I went, yes! But it was 2 years of not knowing what the heck was going on with me. And I'm like, I'm not crazy. This is actually happening to me. Oh, my toes actually, okay, so your toes aren't supposed to cool up to like curl up like this in the morning time. You can't walk. Oh, that's not supposed to happen. Okay, I get it. And so I left there with a prescription for levodopa, and that was it. I had no idea what the heck was going to happen to me. And I'm sure you can relate. So I became like this Google master, search master. Anybody relate to that? That one, like you're Google. What is this? What is this? How long will it? Did you ever Google how long am I going to live with Parkinson's? Anybody ever Google that one? What's my life expectancy with Parkinson's? You Google that one? You know what mine said? 7.2 years. I'm 40. 7.2 years. And that was like 7.2 years ago, I think. So I've doubled that already. So I lived my life in these 5-minute blocks. I'm so glad you're not using the timer because I don't know when we'll stop. I was using 5-minute blocks or 5-year blocks. I tell everybody I live in a 3-year, my God, you're getting me all mixed up. I live in 3-hour blocks. My life is defined by every 3 hours. That's when I take my medication. 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours. And I live by 3-hour blocks, by 5-year blocks. 5 good years left, Bryce. That was the thing I had in my head. 5 good years, 5 good years. So I hit the 5 years. I was like, oh, okay, what do I do now? Okay, maybe 5 more, right? Oh, that's a good number, right? 5, they gave me 5. I'll take 5 more. So 5 good years. Okay, hit that. Okay, 5 more good years, please. You know, like, let's do this, like 5 good years. And I live my life. I live my life to live the best I can, to be off, never. And I wish I woke up like that. Because when I wake up in the morning, it's awful. But I live my life to make sure, to try to live to the best, to the degree that nothing can stop me. And I try to live. And that's why I love events like this. Because you're going to hear from movement disorder specialists, you're going to hear from clinicians, you're going to hear from people that are going through it. And you know what I tell them all, they get mad at me because I tell them all, like, I'm doing everything I can possibly do to live the best I can for as long as I can. And that's why I need you to do more. Because I'm at my limit. I'm doing everything I possibly can do. And now I need you and I need your help. That's why research and that's why things are so, so important to us. And I'm thankful that we can get in a room and we can hear what's going on and we can have a voice. And you being here today is part of a community that how many people, like, you know, isolation, and we kick that and then, you know what, and we move forward because you're here today. And you could be here newly diagnosed, you could be here wondering if you have it, you could be here 15 years in your journey, and I promise you, you'll get something out of today if you put something into today. I'll say it one more time, really slow, so it translates well. You'll get something out of today if you put something into today. If you have a question, don't say, someone else will ask that question. If you have a question, don't say, I don't know. Just write it down and put your hand up. And if you're shy, just barely put it up like that. And we'll watch for you and we'll get it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you're ready to have a good time? Yeah. In Montreal. In the Belle Provost. Yeah. Welcome to Montreal PDIQ. And let's do it.